The Wizards are 2-8. This is what we insiders who really know and work in the NBA like to call not good. Although as someone who grew up in the Washington area, I can assure you it is not, in fact, rock bottom. The Wizards have had seasons where they have only won 19 games total. In fact, that has happened twice and not even that long ago. The most recent was 2008-2009. And yes, that is when Gilbert Arenas was on the team. But no, that's not even the season where he nearly got into a shootout in the locker room.
Bang.
That was a whole other season. So for those of you who are looking at this team right now and thinking, my Lord, how much worse could this possibly get? Well, my answer to you is, how much time do you have? Still, there is no doubt that what is happening in Washington right now is absolutely a mess. So much so that I believe there's a whole TV show about it, right?
Really?
Guys?
And it's called...
In the National Basketball Association, the people of Washington are represented by two separate yet equally important groups. The guys who are finger-pointing inside the locker room and the guys who are playing for the next contract. These are their stories.
Last night's episode was grisly enough. It should have probably come with one of those mature audiences warnings, starting with Dwight Howard attempting this shot in the first quarter.
Hey, Dwight, what?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Dwight would actually go on to grab 11 rebounds, but as a whole, on the board, the Wizards are just a horror show. So far this season, they're only grabbing 44% of available rebounds, which ranks last in the NBA by a good margin, mind you. They also rank third worst in the league defensively, which was also on full display last night. They fell behind by as many as 20 in the second quarter by allowing baskets like this.
Oh, nice, pal.
Or like this.
Oh, I mean, that defense is just...
They were in rebound position
like,
at least.
The Mavericks would go on to hang 70 on Washington in the first half. While the Wizards did make a brief rally in the third quarter, they promptly fell right back apart to lose the game by 19. At least afterward, no one on the team directly called anyone out, which is, I guess, a step in the right direction, considering that's already happened multiple times just last month.
They're unified.
Instead, Dwight Howard told the media, quote, "We are going to get better once we hit our stride. I think people will forget about what happened at the beginning of this season." And there's some precedent for that. It was just a couple years ago the Wizards started the same 2-8, and that season ended in a Game 7 with Boston in the conference semis. And you can see some other really rough starts here, and those all ended in the playoffs as well. Of course, you'd think if this year's Wizards were going to dig themselves out of their hole, the stretch they're in right now is when they would do it. The Mavericks are a team they were supposed to be better than, and they've got the Magic and the Cavs and the Nets coming up. If they don't improve soon, you can expect calls to shake things up to get only louder. Although, personally, I don't see anything major happening anytime soon. Coach Scott Brooks still has about $21 million guaranteed left on his contract. He'd have to be paid out even if he was fired. And while NBA circles have been buzzing this past week, dreaming up potential Bradley Beal trades, most of those deals are really only appealing for the other team. They'd be unlikely to net the Wizards the kind of pieces they would need to win in the same window in which they've already committed to, well, winning by paying so much to John Wall and Otto Porter.
Got me on that one.
Which leads us to what Brooks said after last night's game. Quote, "There's only one way to get better, and that's together." He's right. This roster should be able to pull themselves out by banding together. As bad as it is, it's not rock bottom, I can tell you.
Listen,
although, boy,
that was pretty bad.
You can see it from here.
That monologue was long as hell. That was like the longest monologue.
I have a lot to say about the Wizards. They've traumatized me over the years,
Jesus,
Tracy.
Rachel, my goodness. I know you from the DMV.
I know. It's trauma. It's personal trauma. So, Tracy, help me.
So, here's my take on it.
Can they recover?
They can recover, and they have the personnel to do so. The reason why I say that, they are in the Eastern Conference, and now if you look at the Eastern Conference, the standings, I mean, Boston only has 6 wins. They're in the 4th seed. So you look at the other teams that are below them, I think the Wizards are a better team than them. Now, they're not playing like it, but they have the personnel to turn this around. It's only, 10 games into the season. I think they will be fine. But John Wall and these guys, they got to have some sort of player meeting, and they got to get on the roll because it's really not looking good for them. But I think they'll turn it around.
That's interesting.
There's two conversations here. One conversation which Tracy is talking about is, can they recover from a 2-8 start to get into the playoffs? I believe so, for sure. But this is a bigger conversation. You look at them, they are a luxury taxpayer. And it's going to get even worse next year when John Wall's contract essentially doubles.
That's my point. So you're not trading for young draft pick assets.
But if you're them and you're looking, are they better than the Sixers? No.
Yes, I think they are.
You think they are? I disagree.
I think they have better talent.
Do you think they're better than the Sixers?
They haven't shown themselves.
Do you think they're better than Boston? Do you think they're better than Toronto?
No.
Do you think they're better than Milwaukee?
No.
So now you're looking at this team and you're like, we got $300 million players. We are paying the luxury tax, which is not something that the Wizards generally would like to do. You have to evaluate whether this is the team that you want to keep together when you are maybe at best the fifth best team in the conference when you're playing at the top end. And you can debate whether it's the fourth or fifth. I think it's the fifth at best. They're certainly not playing like the fifth best team right now. And you have to wonder, regardless of whether or not it makes sense financially to let Scott Brooks go or all that stuff, whether you need to do something about it now.
I'd like Tracy saying they need to have a players-only meeting. I know that they don't work all the time, but at some point you got to do something.
Yeah.
So, John Wall and Bradley Beal, Tracy McGrady speaking to you.